Okay, what we have here are a few examples when we come to working with circles, and what I wanted to address here, if you go to on our assignments, number 7, it says give us the equation, and given the center is 0, 0, and the radius is 10. And as you can see here, what I've done is I've used the formula, and it's x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. And of course, h is my horizontal transformations, k is going to be my vertical transformations, and r is going to be my radius. So then I've turned around and I have substituted in h and k, and let me just write that so it's clear that my centers is going to be the value of h, k. So over here, my x value is h, my k value is going to be the y. So I replace my h and k with 0, or it is going to be x minus 0 squared, or x squared, plus y minus 0 squared, or y squared, and then 10 squared is going to give me 100. So either one of these are actually a satisfactory answer. This just is more simplified. Let's see what else we have. They've asked us to do some information here, and it says x squared plus y squared equals 9, and they want us to give the equation, and everything has been translated down 1 unit. And down is going to affect my k value. So I know that if it's gone down 1 unit, my center, if we started off at the origin, if it didn't go right or left, that means my x value is still going to be 0. And when I went down 1 unit, it's going to go to -1. So I know that I can replace my h with 0, and that gives me x squared plus y minus a -1, which gives me a y plus 1 squared. And then my radius didn't change, so there you go. So this is my final answer, x squared plus y plus 1 squared equals 9. And those are some very simple examples. And if we go to the next example, okay, what we have here is it says, what are the center and radius of the circle with the given equation? And the equation is going to be x squared plus y squared minus 6x plus 14y equals 8. We do not have enough information to create our, what would appear our standard form, so we are going to have to complete the square. So let's go ahead and group our information together. I have x squared, and by grouping I want to get my like terms or my like variables together. I have x squared minus 6x plus y squared plus 14y equals 8. And in order to complete the square, we are going to create perfect trinomial squares. So I'm going to give myself a little bit of room here. And what I've done here is I've created where I will place my trinomials. And that is going to be equal to 8. Now remember, to complete the square, we're going to do two different completing the squares here. We're going to complete the square both on the x and the y equation. And to complete the square, we are going to take half of b. So we take half of b and we square it. And in this case, we should remember that in standard form, this would be a, b, and then c. So c is going to equal half of b squared. So half of b is -6, so half of that is going to be -3 squared, and that is going to give me a 9. And I can go ahead, and if I'm going to add 9 to one side of the equation, I need to add it to the other. And I know that this portion of my perfect trinomial will become x minus 3 squared. Okay, so we have plus sign right here, bringing that down, and I want to do the same with my y. So half of b is going to be, half of 14 is 7. 7 squared is going to be a plus 49, plus 49. And when I rewrite this, we have y plus 7 squared equals, this over here becomes 58 plus 8, and that would be 66. So I have this standard form of an equation. All right, so my r, remember 66 right here is r squared. So my radius is actually going to be the square root of 66. And then this is going to be, h is going to equal 3, and k is going to equal -7. So my center is going to be 3, -7 is my center. And then my radius is going to be the square root of 66. And that is using completing the square to come up with that equation for a circle. Okay, so here are some more examples from our assignment, and it says write the equation of the circle that passes through the given point and has a center at the origin. Well, if we're going to have to graph some of these, and that might be easier. It does say go ahead and use the distance formula, and that's one way to do it. But let's look at, we know that we're going to start off at the origin, and if I want to pick number 36, for example, I know that I'm going to have -5. So I'm going to pass through -5, starting, a center is the origin. I'm going to pass through here, -5, 0. And so that means that my radius is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that means I have a radius that is 5. And then, so something along, not a perfect circle, but we get the idea. And I know that my h and k have done what? Well, h, since I'm at the origin, h is 0, k is 0, so I have x squared plus y squared is equal to r squared, and r we said is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 squared, or 25. So there is my equation for number 36.